Low talk checks how well somebody fits into social expectations. It nudges people back into conformity. It keeps tabs on you without overt confrontation. Small talk may be used more genuinely to co create belonging, whereas low talk, it usually appears in diaspora or upward mobility contexts.
My research has identified three unwritten rules of work that are at play here. The three unwritten rules of work the previous creator pointed out, I would call the unwritten rule of compliance, the unwritten rule of indirect communication, and the unwritten rules of boundaries, which I used to call navigating workplace friendships, but it also applies with leaders. I'll give you examples of all of them, but you can go to the playlist in my profile for a more in-depth view of each one. I'm Dr. Anna Kalschmidt. I've been researching the unwritten rules of work for the working class with intersections of race and gender for nearly a decade, and recently I started adding neurodivergence. The unwritten rule of compliance is expecting people to be voiceless, not speak up, and not disagree with you. Think of it as the opposite of psychological safety, which is where you know you can speak up without being punished, even if they don't implement your idea. It can look like someone telling you, I really like this idea, what do you think? But they don't really want to hear your idea. They want you to agree with them. Or putting the leadership pressure on. The director wants it this way. What do you think? Would you change anything? Or just closing a meeting with saying, any questions? But nobody's really supposed to ask a question. They're looking for you to comply. In all fields, this is harmful for innovation and for saving money via retention and more productive employees. But in some fields, it's literally dangerous. Some studies have shown how important psychological safety is in aviation, for example, because as they say, mistakes in aviation are written in blood. So it's a very big deal. The indirect communication rule is exactly what it sounds like. It's talking around the problem or handling people with kid gloves. Saying things like, no rush, get it to me when you can, when you really mean by EOD. Or saying, oh, I loved it, just a few suggestions, when it really means, if you don't do what I tell you, it's not getting approved. Or saying something really vague, like, I like it, but it's just missing something. Or can you just jazz it up or make it look more professional? It's not specific. And so the people who know the internal rules, who have similar cultural backgrounds to the person saying this, they know what it means. But if you've just moved up from a working class background and none of your parents were professionals, you're like, there's no grammar mistakes, everything's clean, it's easy to read. Like, what's not professional about this? What does jazz it up mean? Because when I use bright colors, everybody seems upset. And finally, boundaries, which is when your coworkers or leaders are asking personal questions and you're not sure if they're really trying to get to know you better or if they're trying to use it to hold it against you. Like the previous creator talked about asking, where do you live? Where'd you get that sweater? What do you do for fun? And especially for women, are you married? These can have good intentions, like she said with small talk. It may be people trying to get close to you. Most of my closest friends I've met at work or school. But it can also be finding that you're an other, especially if you're passing in other ways. If you're not a person of color, if you're not a woman, and there's not any racism or sexism they can put against you, they're wondering, are you in our class? Or are you neurotypical? And sometimes these can get to harassment. Like I have had multiple Black women respondents tell me about people who followed them home trying to figure out where they lived, which is creepy. And don't fucking do that. All of these rules and 5 more I talk about in my upcoming book, and at the end of each chapter I give recommendations for human resources, people managers, and early career professionals. If you want to be the first to know about when that book is released, join my mailing list. It's linked in my bio.